Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my garden for a garden tour video. I don't have anybody to film me, so I'm going to do it on my own, which means you're not going to see a lot of me today. But I'm just going to tour you around, and especially at the garden area in my back here. This is a terrace garden and it is filled with a lot of annuals, with a lot of tender plants, and it is really coming to life now. You can already see a big blob of gorgeous pink. That is phlox, that is a perennial obviously in my back. But a lot of those plants that I propagate from seed or that I overwinter in my basement, they're really coming to their best now. And I think it shows how fun a garden in July can look, because in the upper garden, the early summer blooms, that kind of start to fizzle out and there's a little bit of a gap now, and I'm waiting for what's going to come next. But here, this area is filled with color and with joy, so I think it's a perfect moment to tour you around. So I hope that you're going to have some fun with me in the garden today. I want to start today's garden tour right here into this brand new area that I refer to as no man's land. And when I started it, at times it looked as if I was really gardening on the farmland, but now you can really see that I left quite a big strip in between, because there is couch grass here. This entire area was filled with couch grass, hooray! So there was quite a big venture to take all of it out. But you can see which is green, this is like no farmland, and then here in the back you see some, I don't know what it is, barley, whatever. Something is growing there, and this is already ripening and brown. So you can definitely see the distinct border between the farmland and this little area, which actually belongs in theory to nobody. Here I'm standing in the grass border where I shared a video with you earlier on in the year. Most of the grasses, they still need really 1 year to bulk up with some growth. So there's a miscanthus here, and then just in the back there is a panicum, which is in theory about to change color to a nice tone of red. It's still very lush and green because it gets established. And here you see one of my favorite grasses. This is Panacetum vertigo, dark, rich, and because it is so much at the end here, once I'm going to take you with me all the way up to the terraces, you will see why it is sometimes important to have something dark as a focal point in your garden. And by the way, don't these terraces look fantastic at this time of the year? Still one last layer here at the base, and then also on the top that has to be covered with the black wood, but you can see big parts they're already mantled with the black wood, and in big parts, especially here to the left, it's so lush and green and overgrown that you can't even see the wood anymore. And this is what I love. This is exactly what I hope to achieve. And this year, honestly, I think is the best year for the terrace garden. So if we just walk along here, you see a lot of the plants that I grew here, or I grow here, they come from seeds or they're offspring from the upper garden. All these drifts from these grasses here, they are all from the upper garden, so they were all self-seeding there, and now I had the amazing opportunity of finally using them. Here on the right, there is a drift of foxgloves. They will be brown foxgloves, so I've never had them. I'm very intrigued to see them next year. So this year, they're only going to form the nice rosette. Next to it, still very small because we had a lot of dry weather. This is Thalictrum. In theory, this should be pretty much my height, and it's not this year. It's still very small, but it just needs time to get established. So I didn't really expect to see too much out of her. Asters, Bars Pink, they look really good there already, so I'm really excited to see those first blooms. If we continue walking, you see here in the entire edge there is a dead hedge, which is really good for wildlife. I really saw again birds kind of like flying in, so at another part I think birds are actually really nesting in there where it is even wider and where I'm not walking so much. Here, one of the new dahlias that I introduced to the garden, and for this area here, which I refer to as no man's land, I want to have color combinations of orange, lilac, purple, lavender, all those tones. There's a little bit of red too, because this Persicaria was offspring too of the upper garden, and I was like, oh, I can't throw it away, so I put it here, and obviously it loves it as it gets established, so it's really happy. But those dahlias are fantastic. This is a variety called Rancho, and the beauty is it grows fairly fast. So yes, there is slug and snail damage, as you can see, but not as much. In general, this is a dahlia that definitely coped best out of all of them with the entire slug and snail situation. And what I think you can see too is that the individual stems are pretty long. So if I wanted to come in, I think this is definitely a variety where I can cut a couple of stems out to create a flower bouquet. In the back, there is a cornice with a leaf variegation. Summer Fun. This is supposed to grow between 2,50 meters and 3 meters in height. I'm going to give you updates of it. I think in the long run this is going to be really beautiful, because those leaves are also going to change color in autumn to two different kinds of red and crimson. Here, this is Perovskia, Russian sage. Really beautiful. The plant really loves the climate here. I'm going to give you a closer look at it now, and then as we continue walking, I'm just going to swing back with the camera so you can see the impact that it already has now, and the blooms are just about to open. So I think in the long run, this is going to be really a beautiful drift. Here, a lot of things are still bound to happen. So I have Blazing Star here. They are gonna bloom in a purple, so I'm really excited to see them. I have 3 blobs of those throughout this entire border. Is it a border? Well, planting basically, because a border has a front and a back. This is really like very interactive as you walk through. I told you in one of my previous videos, like the path in here is like curved and winding through because I really wanted to take the speed out if you walk through this area. I don't want to make it kind of like walking quick from A to B. I just really want to make sure that you can just walk around all of these beautiful blooms, such as the sedum here. This is a variety called Herbstfreude, which means joy of autumn. This is the best sedum of my garden, period. Like, I normally always love Matrona, but Matrona is a little fuzzy in the recent couple of years, especially this year again. And Herbstfreude is just fantastic. It's vibrant, the foliage looks fantastic. It's going to bloom very beautiful and pink. So I'm very excited to see when they're going to come to bloom. In the back, I went to the garden center and I had to buy these 3 Rudbeckia without a label, so I have no idea what they actually are, but I think that they are really beautiful, especially when these flowers kind of fade away and fizzle out. They change the color. They're very much, I'm going to give you a closer look. Aren't they just gorgeous? Really peachy and rusty. So very, very happy with that purchase. I needed to have that. Here is another drift of Perovskia, but early on in the year, deer paid a visit just when I planted those. I'm happy that they survived it, because for a moment I thought, oh, that was it for those, but they definitely bounced back. Here, this is actually how this entire area started, to be honest. Because in the upper garden, I had these 4 hydrangea plants, but I don't even know what they are, to be honest. I had them for years and years. First, between the walnut trees, total failure. It didn't work at all. They need too much water and walnut trees take all the water, so this was not a good idea. So I transplanted them to a different area of the garden. Also didn't work out. And then at the end, I thought, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to take them, put them down here and see if they like it, and they love it. For once, it really shows right plant in the right place. There is a lot of moisture and water in this area here. And finally, they thrive. They look fantastic. They have good stems. So much better to last year. So actually, thanks to these few hydrangea plants, they are the reason why I really started this entire area here. Then all my little cute wattle fancers, aren't they looking cute? I always make them with hazel cutting because in my experience, hazel cutting works the best, even better than willow. They age very beautifully, which is nice too, you know, they kind of keep the color almost, they just get a little grayish, but they age really beautiful. More persicaria that came from the upper garden, Panstemon that came from the upper garden, then a big drift of bearded iris, that is a variety called English Cottage, which normally is my favorite bearded iris, but this year they were not happy campers in my garden. Then this is a clematis that I planted with you earlier on in the year. Arabella, I hope I remember the name right now. A lot of tiny blooms, a lot of buds. I'm really thrilled about it. I mean, I just planted it and already I built this framework here with willow branches and one rooted in, which I don't mind. I actually think it's going to be quite cute when I have, I'm going to cut them back obviously, but when I have some willow branches and then the clematis growing in between it. So I think that this might be really an exciting combination. Amaranth, unbelievable. Those were my spare plants, and they are the biggest out of them all. They are almost like 1.80 meters, I would think now. All of the amaranth that I grew in the upper, or that I grow in the upper garden, they're looking cute, but nothing looks as good as they do. So very, very surprising how amazing the amaranth looks here. And those were actually just some spare plants, but I have no idea where to put them. I leave some stingy nettles here for the moment because butterflies feed on them, or the caterpillars of butterflies. So I thought I'd just try to leave here and there a couple of stingy nettles, even though I don't enjoy them too much. What else can I show you here? It's so much, really. It's so much that I can show you. Here, very cute combination. Again, unknown variety of Euchera, but then in the back, there is a really cute daylily. I just try to remember the name. I think Tango for Two was the name. They should be double flowers. This one clearly is not, others are, but I think that they are a really nice combination with the Euchera. They are in a similar world. They look a little bit like autumn already, let's face it, but still I think it is a very cute combination. See, here is one bloom that is a double actually. They were planted last year, so I'm really thrilled, to be honest, that they picked up so much growth because those plants were tiny and a lot of them really come to bloom, so I'm very, very excited to see them. Here, some more dahlias. This is Crème de Cognac. They were definitely tackled. Well, this one here, oh my, tackled by slugs and snails. The one in the back definitely holds itself pretty well. So I'm really happy about that. In the cold frames, I still have a lot of cute plants. I've got geranium. This is a white variety that I propagated from seed from upper garden. I've got two pots of really beautiful Rudbeckia cherry brandy, and then some more Ricinus here. Here, this is actually a big, big failure. Those dahlias were ordered as Fairway Peach, so they should have been nice big peach blooms. And peach, they are not. Look at that. Bright orange, reddish with a yellow center. So I was like, oh, I don't have the heart to like dig them up now. So I'm going to leave them here this year. I'm going to let them do their business, and then at the end of the year I will give them to the neighbors. But what is very pretty here is an ornamental grass that I grow in between it, where, to be honest, I don't know the English name of it and I don't even know the German name of it, but I still want to show you. I grew it from seed and I think that they are just the most pretty, whimsical thing you could possibly have in the garden. I really forgot the name now. Normally I know it. It's going to come back to me in a moment, hopefully. And then, big, big success story. I'm so thrilled about these Bells of Ireland. 2 years ago I tried it. Big failure, and this year I managed it and they look incredible. So you can really come in here now and cut the first stems for flower bouquet. So just imagine Bells of Ireland with, for example, a couple of stems from Perovskia, then maybe some Cosmos that I'm going to show you in a moment, the orange dahlias, oh, a beautiful flower bouquet already forming in my hat. So this is pretty much how no man's land looks right now. So the next area I'm going to show you is just in the back there, which is the terrace garden. I suppose one of the key plants in the terrace garden, definitely for impact of color, is this phlox. I actually ordered it as a red variety 3 years ago, and then it decided to be Barbie pink, which is not normally my preferred color, so I kind of put it here, but it's very vigorous. And to be honest, I really start to love it. I'm so excited now every year when it comes back. So this is the third year. Last year was already here and I really liked it, and this year I love it even more. Also how tall it is, because it really covers up all of the landscape fabric in the back. At one point this will be wood, obviously, but still I love it when you have these layers and suddenly you do explore things and plants totally different, like this agapanthus here, which is in bloom right now. And let me show you my absolute favorite cosmos of the year. This is Apricotta. They are stunning. Some of them are almost a little double. So just try to find a nice example now. So this one here, for example, well, this is a spent flower, so this has to go, by the way. I need to do some deadheading still, but this flower here is almost a double. Very intriguing. Some of them are more pinkish, some of them are really more apricot. As they fade away, they are definitely a little blush. And what I love here is the entire color concept for this area. So if I just step back a little bit, I hope it's not going to be too wonky now. You can see there is the apricot peachy color from the Cosmos. Then there is purple accent from those really cute agapanthus. In the back there is amaranth in like a rust tone, or like it's called hot biscuit, so really like a burnt biscuit tone. Towering high already, very beautiful. I think that they will be fantastic as we go into autumn. Then in the back there is millet, one of the annual grasses that I grow every single year. This is called Red Jewels. Love it. One of my favorite varieties. It's super easy. It's not fuzzy. It does its thing. It germinates. It just looks fantastic. It is really high, as you can see. It's red and green together, but it works really well also with orange, as you can see here with this dahlia here. This is actually really my favorite dahlia. It's Dr. P.H. Riedel, if I say it right. Here you see more blooms already. Isn't it fantastic? It's like yummy popsicles. Very juicy, something in between orange and pink, and this is why I love it. Then some oh, I wanted to say agastache. Yes, agastache here in the front, which is orange. And then in the back, some allium. It was better 2 weeks ago when the agastache was in full bloom and the alliums were just opening, but still very, very pretty, very exciting. So this is really an exciting area of my garden. What is exciting too is there are more Panacetum vertigo here, and one, can you see it? It blooms. It never happened before, so this is the first time that a Panacetum actually decides, or Panacetum vertigo decides to bloom here. So I'm really excited to see that. What we're going to do now is, because it's always a little difficult to maneuver out of this area, I'm going to take you with me all the way up and then give you a good look at the entire terrace garden and just talk about some more plant combinations. Actually, I'm not going to walk all the way up because I really want to show you how it looks from this vista. Isn't that just amazing? The textures, the heights, the difference in blooms and colors. Like on the top, there is definitely more red because it is a continuation of the upper garden, where I focus on color combinations of red and purple. So this is why I also wanted to bring it here onto the terrace garden. But then as we go down, the color palette changes into shades of orange and burnt caramel and purple, and yes, the pink obviously, which is definitely not really supposed to be there, but at the same time I love it. So that phlox is 100% sure gonna stay there. And also if we swing a little further, you can see the Perovskaya beautiful, and then in the back there are all those beautiful dahlias that are about to bloom. So I'm gonna have a really beautiful big drift of orange dahlias there very soon. So I'm really excited to show you those too. So if we walk up now, and now finally this year I can walk up because I built all of these stairs here. Most of them are painted already, just have to do a little bit of extra work. One thing that I did, which I want to show you now, it doesn't really cute from this angle right now, but I started building a terrace here, which is still in the process of making, as you can see. But I thought, okay, like going from the upper garden onto the terrace garden, there was always this really ugly black landscape fabric situation, and it was not convenient and it was slippery. So I thought, I'm going to build something. I started, so very soon there will be a beautiful deck terrace here. But if you look at it from this angle, I think this is quite interesting too, because you really get to see all the different layers and all the different kind of colors here. So here on this layer, they can really see that I already started focusing more and more on combinations of purple and red, especially in the back here. This is actually a phlox that volunteered. I haven't planted it there. But the thing is, when I see something popping up and coming to flower, I can never just take it out. It's like, you know what? Do your thing, and then end of the year, I'm just going to dig you up, and then you go where you're supposed to grow. But for this year, you can very happily thrive here. Red and white is actually quite a classic color combination, but for some weird reason, I don't really enjoy it that much. But it is actually something that works in theory pretty well, and I've seen it in different gardens where it is quite cute. I've got some zinnias here, and zinnias and I love zinnias, but at the same time, the slugs and snails love them too. This is El Dorado, which is a fantastic color. Look at that, very, very vibrant. So some of these plants, the slugs and snails had mercy, so there's actually more here. So at one point, I think I'm going to have some really nice fun zinnia colors here, which I think this orangey tone will be beautiful in the back with the beautiful Panacetum vertigo, because then it will kind of pop and glow even more. Here the cannas, I bought them without knowing what the flowers would be like, kind of hoping they were red. They're a little more red to what I actually hope they would be like, but still, they're cute. I love cannas and I don't want to miss them. Very vibrant. And here on this layer, you can really see how I play with all different kind of annuals and tender plants. So for example, now the sun comes out. There is Swedish ivy, which really bulked up a lot. I did a planting video here where I showed you how I planted these plants, and they look fantastic now. Then Ipomoea sweet potato vine. They are all right. I'm never so successful with them. I think it has to do because I never really water any of these. I think this is the big thing that I'm missing out. My petunias are looking cute here. They're already covering up this entire area, and then here they start to grow into these asters. I think this is going to be very cute. Then more Panacetum vertigo and more dahlias. This was actually supposed to be Sam Hopkins, which is a very, very dark burgundy dahlia, and you're not supposed to see the red center. And clearly, again, they were ordered by the same online shop as I ordered the orange dahlias that I just showed you downstairs, like the one that was supposed to be peach and they are bright orange now. So that online shop was definitely not very reliable, unfortunately. So here I'm not sure what to do with them. I kind of like them, but at the same time I'm not hyper happy with them, because especially up there, I can show you why in a moment. I was hoping for something a little different. Here it really starts to feel a little jungly now. This is what I love. Oh, aren't they kind of fantastic? Now we had rain earlier on, so I really wanted to do the garden tour now, because I sometimes really love how it looks when there's fresh rain on the plants, even though the sun comes out of my some holes now into the flowers. So here is another area where I planted a lot with you, and I always share it with you. It looks very, very cute. So there are dahlias too. That variety is called Camorra Makeup, and they are burgundy, almost burgundy. They are very pretty. Now my equipment hangs in the Aster. So here you can see how cute they look, and then in combination again with these fuchsias that I planted in one of my previous videos. They start to establish, they look very cute. Then more Panacetum vertigo. Here you can see really it is an excellent plant here. This is one of those grasses that you find in like blobs everywhere throughout this entire planting. Then here is Salvia patens. This is a blue Mexican salvia that I planted. Very, very pretty. More amaranth is here. This is Coral Fountain. I'm going to walk up with you and then you get to see a better, you get to see it a little closer. But in general, I think what looks really nice here is how vigorous and how lush everything is. And really that all these gaps start to fill up. You can't really see like your pathways at times anymore. Look at that, those grasses. I really love grasses. I think grasses bring a lot of texture to a garden. So really don't want to miss them. And I think from now onwards, this entire area just gets better and better. So let's just quickly, I don't want to pause now. So I just walk up with you, even though that what you see now is not pretty. Oh, Jesus. See, this is a reason why I'm going to mantle all of it, because I don't want to see any more black landscape fabric. Like my mission is next year, when we're standing here next year, all of those ugly black landscape fabric will be masked. Here's the upper garden still with a fence. I still want to take it down, by the way. There is more Persicaria here. The same sedum, Herbstfreude, that I just showed you down there in No Man's Land. And here, this is one of my favorite shrubs. This is obviously Cotinus. This is a variety called Grace Perfect. Really vigorous, really beautiful. It flowers fantastic. It's called Smokebush, and I think looking at those individual flowers, you really get to see and understand why it is called that way. And also look at this now, this vista. This is really why I wanted to do this garden tour, not even with me standing in front of the camera, because you really get to enjoy all these different vistas and angles onto this garden area. And I think this is the fun of this entire terrace garden here, that you get to enjoy and explore gardens so different, because even if we continue walking, you look around the corner and suddenly have a different perspective onto your planting. Here, by the way, is a reason why I really wanted to have burgundy dahlias, because I have a rose here which I love. This is a variety called Alden Bison, however you want to pronounce it. It flowers very long, up until the first frost. Open flowers, so perfect for pollinators. As you can see already, there is actually a hoverfly now. There's not a bee. But I thought these pink blooms might be really cute in combination with a dark, rich, almost black burgundy next year. So this is what gardening sometimes is all about. You can actually see here on the top layer now, this looks nice and lush and green. It looked fantastic in May and in June, like when the bearded iris were in flower, the aquilegia, the rose, everything was so nice. But now there is really like this summer gap when you're like, what's next? There isn't really anything. Maybe I have to work in this area too a little bit, but what I love is, we're just approaching it, this is the cardoon, the ornamental artichoke. So that looks very, very cute. One thing that I did this year again is I hand pollinated bearded iris, like different varieties. And this is, by the way, how they look now this time of the year. And this is how they're supposed to look. Very fat. They're almost about to burst open. So once they start to burst open at the top, the seed is ready. And then you can sow it before winter still, because they are cold germinators. They need to go through a cold spell in order to germinate. This is the entire terrace where I planted dahlias, where I planted the Salvia patens with you, and you really can't see any soil or any mulch actually from this angle at all. And this is what I love. Asters are in here, more dahlias. Now you get to see a little bit of soil because I thought I still might find some beautiful red cannas, which I haven't, unfortunately, so I don't really know what to do. Maybe I'm going to put some more of these beautiful ricinus there that I still have down, but I think in general it looks very cute. And this is what I want to show you. This is Amaranth Coral Fountain. They can grow up to 2 meters. I kind of hope they won't grow to such a height here. They start to produce their first flowers, which is really a nice blush tone at the moment. So I'm really excited to see how they're gonna look later on in the year. But really what I want to show you is when you stand here and you look down, this is the first Pennisetum that I showed you in the video, and it is a focal point. I hope you really get to see it from here. But I have this dark Pennisetum throughout this entire garden area. It's down there. There is a Pennisetum, 2 of them are here just behind the Amaranth Coral Fountain. Then I have the dark foliage again from the leaves of the ricinus. Then I have the dark blooms, dark rich red from the dahlias. So I always try to make sure that if I have a color or a key color, that it comes back in different ways, like in a bloom, in a foliage, in a grass. So to make it exciting with different textures, but still it is the same color. Oh, look here. Alliums are always filled with so many bees. It's very windy today, but there's a butterfly at the moment. I might have to cut back the Nepeta eventually, but in general, I'm very, very happy the way that this entire area looks. I know that this garden tour was a lot longer to what I anticipated, but there's so much to look at and I really wanted to show you everything. That's it for today for my garden, at least for you, because I'm going to continue harvesting some of my cherries to make some jam, and also the black currants are ready. So that's definitely what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get changed because otherwise this shirt will be pretty much full of the trash bin after harvesting the black currants. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you could take some inspiration out of it. I love to show you this entire area here because just 3 years ago there was still a steep slope. Nothing was really growing there but like some old overgrown shrubs and trees and weeds, and that was it. And now it's kind of like my own personal haven. It's a lot of fun that is in there, a lot of joy that this garden area brings to me. So I really love to spend almost my entire day here, which is kind of the irony because the upper garden is massive, huge, and then I just really love this area. But I hope that I could really show you the joy that I have for this entire area. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for giving me a thumbs up for this video. Also, if you want to see more from my garden, click on the link down below this video that guides you straight to my Instagram account. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I'd love to welcome you next time around. Take care. Bye.